Awesome. Welcome to Demo Day, guys. Congrats for making it all the way through. This is the point, well, we like to think of it as only the beginning, and we can't wait to see what you guys have been up to. Can you guys see my screen yet, or no? Oh, I forgot to screen share. One sec. Yeah, can you guys see my screen now?
Yep.
Sweet. So just to start off, Demo Day is pretty simple. It's just a chance for us to see what you've been working on and how much you've learned over the past 2 weeks. To start off, we're just going to go over some logistics. Then we're going to go into the presentations. And at the end, we're going to talk a little bit about certificates and what's next after this cohort. So to start off, everyone will have about 1 minute to present their capstone. This is not a hard limit, so if you need to talk a little bit more, you can go ahead. You can present your capstone or a previous project if you haven't gone to finish your capstone just yet. And then after, there'll be like a 30-second Q&A where anybody can ask questions or give a comment, or you can even encourage the person who's presenting in the chat as well. And then the next person will get ready to share their screen. I believe that Max is sending or has sent the order. And Max, is that sent in Discord or in the Zoom chat?
It's about to be both.
Okay, sweet. So Max is about to send the demo day order of what, yeah, it's right there in Discord and Zoom chat. So I guess we're gonna get started now. So the first person who's presenting is Atul, followed by Claudia. So Atul, please feel free to share your screen and walk us through your project.
And don't worry if it takes you an extra minute to set up. It's difficult to go first always.
Yeah, no worries.
I know. So I tried to make a Scribble-esque, I guess, website. Not there yet, but what I have is basically all the elements I would need to make it. I got some, in this corner I have different options for the paints and the, the canvas down below. On the right-hand side of the screen is the sort of the chat function, where you would not only type answers to the game, but also you can chat with the people. This is not complete by any measure. There's definitely bugs that I have to go over and also work out the game aspect of creating player turns. I haven't gotten to that point yet, but let me run it real quick. So I can refresh. And if I enter, say, a color, I can draw brush size. I can increase that. I could also fill the page with that color, which I thought was pretty cool. And then this answer part doesn't work yet. The way I was trying to implement it was, instead of prompting the user to select from 3 words, you could enter your own word and then draw that. But I'm not there yet. So I can also clear the canvas. And over here, the handle would be your name. So I could enter my own name, and then a message would be, I don't know, hi. I can send that and put it here. One thing I have to work on is keeping the handle and not having it disappear every time you enter a message. But then if you go on the other page, you can have the same thing and then put my name in again and say hello back. So it puts it there, and then I have a running chat that half works. I just have to implement the game part of it and work out some of these minor issues. And then last is the Heroku part. It's sort of finicky right now, but I'll get that too. So any questions?
How does it work that, like, you can type in the name of the color and it switches to it?
How does it work?
Yeah.
So it sends this this string that I type to I guess my app.javascript,
Right.
and then I use the document.getElement by ID for the color. Use .value for that,
Oh.
and that creates that sends it into the
Yeah, no, I get it. Send it so yes, you can use it. No, that's really smart.
stroke the stroke style,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah.
Nice.
This is sick. Like, I think like the coolest part is like the filling. Like you built like your whole like art board right here, which is awesome. And it'd be cool to see like in the future, maybe like you can see like right now. Can you see what the other person is drawing, or is that something you're still working on?
I actually haven't tried it where I have the screen side by side,
Okay.
switching tabs, and yeah, as you can see, there's different drawings on it. I haven't really set it apart, so one user has access to the canvas, and the other user can view that canvas. So right now, everyone has their own canvas.
Sweet. Looks like somebody asked you a question in the chat.
I can't see the chat.
Oh, okay. Nasreen is asking, could a person add a hex code, or does it have to be a string?
I don't know hex codes off the top of my head. I can find one.
We can give you a couple too. Samay and I are robots. We do have them memorized.
You can just do like hashtag FF0000. That should be red. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Great
Awesome.
work, Rachel.
All right. Thank you.
Next up, we have Claudia, followed by Colleen.
Also, I'll quickly mention that if your name is not on this demo day order, just let me know, and we'll make sure that you get on.
Okay, so can everyone see that?
Yep.
Okay, so if I'm gonna be honest, this past week I was, like moving into school and I didn't really have the time to get everything finished. So I was working on getting my website from Figma to HTML and, getting that all sorted out, but I didn't quite finish, but I still wanted to show like the website I designed. So my idea that I wanted to do the whole time was to make a video, or a website to show all the videos that I've made of trips. So I got started with some of the code, but I didn't quite finish. But this is what I have in Figma. So if you click here, it takes you to this page that has some of my favorite trips I've been on and the videos I made. So when you hover over them, it gives you a little title. And then if you click on one, then it takes you to a little page with some pictures and some information about the trip. And then if you click on play, then it takes you to just Google Drive and you can see the video I made. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love the animations.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun with that font. It's a good one.
Yeah, I love the design too. It's really unique.
Thank you. Are there any questions? If not, that's okay.
Looking forward to seeing the website live.
Thanks. I'll keep you updated.
Yeah, the community is always here if you need any help or get stuck with something.
Yeah, I'm taking a class starting next week. So hopefully I get more experience and I'll feel more comfortable getting that all figured out. But
Awesome.
For sure. If you could, if you ever figure out how you can get HTML from Figma and it actually works, let us know, because I feel like that would be a lifesaver.
yeah, I kind of got there, but there were some kinks that I couldn't quite work out. So I'll let you know.
Got it. Oh, Atul has a question for you. What is Figma?
Oh, it's just a website that one of my, one of the crew people told me about, that instead of having to write all the code from scratch, you can design it all, just visually and just drag things where you want them, and then you write the code from there.
Sweet. Awesome. Next up, we have Colleen, followed by Daniel.
Hello? Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So for my capstone, I planned on doing a platform game. I think it's in the works here, yeah. But that ended up being a lot harder than I anticipated. So it's like partially done, but I'll just present my first project that I submitted, which is with just a personal website. And it's kind of boring. It's just like a sort of like resume, but on the website. I took it from ColorLib, which was I think different from the one recommended by you guys. And I changed a lot of it because a lot of it, I don't know, had a lot of excess like features that I didn't necessarily need. Yeah, I don't know what else. It's just my website. I think the things that I did add were, or some of the things I did change were I primarily changed the HTML document, but some of the CSS stuff that I changed were the font because it had 2 different fonts, which I didn't like. So I somehow figured out how to make it all one consistent font. With like the work experience, I split it into 3 different, I guess, categories. So I also figured out how to like move or duplicate this and still get the animation working. Yeah, and then I guess with press Let's Connect, it goes automatically to the bottom to my email and LinkedIn. So just some professional things. Yeah, that's about it.
That's sweet.
Cool. What was the hardest part for you, do you think?
I think it was trying to interpret the CSS document that they had. It took me a while to try to figure out, which is like in hindsight, like such an easy thing to figure out how to change the font. Like this was a different font completely compared to everything else. And I don't know why it took me a while to try to figure that out. I would also say like duplicating this, because keeping it consistent where, I don't know if you saw earlier, but like the different positions pop up, like it took me a while to figure out how to get that to also be consistent throughout the rest of the document. But yeah, still, it's just my website.
I think there's some Michigan students who want to know more info about the cooking club.
Oh yes, I love the cooking club. If anyone is interested, just email me. I guess, well, it's over here, Colleen.t. But yeah, I used to be president of the cooking club, and I don't know what they're doing now, but I'm sure it's just like sharing recipes you can do at home.
Is that the club that cooked in South Quad occasionally?
Yeah.
Nice.
Was anyone I'm sorry for anyone that's not from Michigan, but did you guys hear of that? Like the club?
I've seen it, yeah.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so next up is Daniel.
Followed by Derek.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, I'll just share my screen. All right, so for my capstone, I decided to design a simple snake game with just JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, because I've always wanted to like make those like simple games that you play just to pass the time. I think this project really helped me understand some of like the functions that go behind simple games, because this turned out to be a lot more complicated than I planned out to be, especially like checking whether you lost the game, whether the snake intersected with itself or ran off the edge of the board. I can sort of just play it as I'm talking. You could also change the snake speed. and as well as the amount it grows with each food that it eats. So yeah, that's about it.
How do you change the speed and the how do you change its speed?
So essentially, this game it works with like a refresh function that repaints like the board every amount of milliseconds, and if you make the refresh rate faster, you can make the snake move an amount more. So I can change the speed over here.
Oh.
I can make it like super slow, and then it's like a lot slower now.
Okay, that's awesome. By the way, I was actually playing this game when I was in a meeting with Max and Varun, and it was very entertaining.
Thank you, thank you.
I might have been
Letting
playing.
us know, Samay.
I think someone had said something in the chat.
Oh yeah, Nisreen has a question. She asked, "How do you check if the snake is doubled back on itself?" I'm
So
assuming.
I think that was the hardest part of the whole project. What I did was you can check whether, I mean, for when you eat the food, you check whether the food is on any part of the snake's body, and well, if I can find it, um, it's sort of like a for loop, but it's what made it harder for the intersection was the head is part of the snake, so you can't just check if the head is on the snake because it's always on the snake. So you had to find a way to sort of pass in a variable that says ignore the head position and just check if the head position is touching any other segments of the snake. I had some help from YouTube and the internet, so
Nice, that's awesome.
You should add a score counter so that we can compare scores with friends.
yeah. I think that's the next step that'll go from this. So yeah,
Sweet. Great work, Daniel.
thank you.
Next up, we have Derek, followed by Emma.
Okay.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
So I'll speak briefly on the motivation behind this project. I was working at a radio station and my job was basically reading articles. I found that a lot of them were on the Rolling Stone and I was like trying to figure out which articles were radio quality and which ones were not. Like we don't have to know about if, you know, Machine Gun Kelly has a foot fetish, right? Like we have to know about other things. And so I was trying to collect data on what articles I was selecting, and this ended up taking a lot of time. So I didn't actually get to the machine learning part, but what I have here are the named entities of the article featured in the articles, the headlines, the length of the article, the link, the phrases, published date, and the text and the sentiment. So basically scraped everything in the period that I worked there and trying to compare the results from what I curated to what wasn't curated and try and see if there's a pattern. And so it's very much in the works, but I'm kind of happy with how this turned out because I did get some good data. And for the keywords and entities, I just plugged it into Microsoft Azure text analysis. I did not go in and try to like find named entities for like 10,000 articles or 1,000 articles here. So that's the gist of it.
That's awesome. What online tool is this?
This one's Kaggle, so I just put my data set on like online so other people can use it.
Awesome.
Where did you get all the data again?
I just scraped the Rolling Stones.
Oh, nice.
The news site, yeah.
That's cool.
were you able to use like a web scraper, or did you dive into the articles yourself?
Well, no, I used the Scrapey, like the Python scraping framework. Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
What's
That
the
would have
difference?
been really tedious.
What's the difference between Scrapey and like the other like Beautiful Soup?
Scrapey's like asynchronous. It runs off the Twisted engine, and so technically it's faster.
Okay.
Has better link following.
Super cool. Anyone else have any questions?
Next up, we have Emma, followed by Isaiah.
Okay. So my project is very, very simple. But one of my majors is cello performance. So, and one thing that I've always noticed since coming here to Michigan is that we don't really have a lot of luthiers. So those are like the shops we can bring our instruments to get them fixed up if anything's wrong. So I decided to sort of make a list of some that were even remotely in the area. You'll see some of them are in Chicago, but that's still close for our, for what we have. But so I just, made a list of what the shop is, and then I included their address and their websites, and both the addresses and the websites are linked. It's very simple, but.
Looks like you have a bunch of fans. That's awesome. Very cool. How do you figure out how to do the table?
What? You both
how did you figure out how to do the table?
The internet. I looked it up, yeah.
Nice. It looks really nice with the borders.
It's a cool resource too, because like it's something that has, you can share with people, like other people in your major and even with your department.
For sure, yeah, because when I came here and I asked like the seniors or whatever, they also didn't really know where to send me to, so yeah, it's just an idea that came to me.
Otto asked a question in the chat.
Yeah, I do. They're quite cool.
Are they like two cellos?
They're actually like violinists, I think.
Okay.
Made videos. Yeah, it's a great pastime. I can only recommend.
Very cool. Now I have to look it up.
Awesome. Thank you, Emma. Next up, we have Isaiah, followed by Kevin.
How do you share your screen? Oh, there you go.
I think you just got it. Yeah.
Okay. One sec. So I just made a Pong game where it's a 2-player Pong game, and then if someone scores on the other team, there's a scoreboard on the top left, and when someone scores, the screen changes colors. Anyways, you control the right paddle board with the up and down arrow, and the left paddle board with S and W. That's about it. And my cousin helped me with some of the concepts I didn't know.
It's awesome. I want to play it now.
Are you playing with yourself right now? Like
Yeah.
with the two paddles? That's so funny.
It's a lot harder than it looks.
Nice. Well, what do you find to be the hardest part of this?
Probably when the ball hit the paddle, like making a bounce out, like bounce away, like what you saw right there, just stuck to the paddle. But that's basically it.
Nice.
We should drop the link in the chat, and that goes for all the web dev projects. If like we can play around and interact with the site, just drop the link in the chat so that more people can check it out and use it.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you, Isaiah. Next up, we have Kevin, followed by Leon.
So I fell a little bit behind and didn't complete my final project. So I'll present, I think, my project 3. So I did the naive Bayes classifier. It was one of the tutorials on Enlight, and not a lot of nice visuals, I guess, compared to maybe like a game or something. But I thought it was pretty interesting. You know, learned a couple cool things. Basically, just uploaded some data to my Google Drive, and then used the drive.mount to get to that. And you just go through the process of kind of cleaning the data in the first notebook, where you add like a column for true or false, because I think naive Bayes only works if you know like the actual classification. So in like real life, it would only be used to kind of test your other classifiers that you would be using, because you're not going to really know like what's true or fake like in real life. But yeah, so in this notebook, I basically just went through and cleaned the data a little bit, used some, I think, regular expressions at some point, if I can find that. All right, I can't find that right now. But yeah, basically use regular expressions to kind of eliminate the beginning part of the true document or the true texts for articles, because they all kind of had like the same heading. And then you concatenated the data together and then just kind of run the model. You know, you split your data 75% to train and 25% to test, just so you're not working with the same data when you're testing it. And for the for actually testing it, we used like two different articles, one from The Onion, which is kind of like a satirical site, and then one from New York Times. And the model was pretty successful. I think in the testing data, it came out to like 94% accuracy. So it was able to tell that The Onion was fake news and that the New York Times was not fake. And that's pretty much it for the Bayes classifier.
Super
Right.
cool. You got a really high accuracy.
Yeah, I guess it's just you know, I guess the hyperparameters were set pretty well, I guess, for the data set. I'm not sure.
That's awesome.
Sweet. Any questions for Kevin? Next up, we have Leon, followed by Linda. Okay.
Okay, cool. So can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So my final project was to make this like personal dashboard, and it has the like top stories from the New York Times, and the only difference from the tutorial was the to-do list. It is like storing local. So for example, I type with like demo, and while I refresh it, it is still there. And if I close it and try to, it is still there. So I found that's kind of cool. But so far, like the user interface, like the color is kind, you know, like simple, even a bit boring. Like before, while I was planning this project, I was thinking about like integrate the like COVID-19 cases in the election polls. I eventually tried to like integrate the COVID cases, and like one of the mentors shared with me a really cool API which contains like the date and the like total deaths and the like how many positives and even like how many, you know, test case it went through. And I did like import to this project, but it's surprisingly hard to like display to to my HTML body, and I'm still trying to figure this out. And so far, I did some research on like YouTube and Stack Overflow. It tries something like print out a test underneath the like cases in the US. Yeah, hopefully, yeah, we'll figure out this out like soon, maybe later tonight.
Awesome. Yeah, we'd be glad to help you add the COVID data to your dashboard, but it looks really nice already.
Great. Thank you.
Sweet. Next up, we have Linda, followed by Malvika.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so for my capstone project, I decided to do a little bit of data analysis with this data set that I found on Kaggle relating to adoption rates and different data from an animal shelter called Austin Animal Center. So I'm not gonna go through my code just because it's like, there's a lot of trial and error, so it's kind of confusing. So instead I made like a quick PowerPoint presentation to show off the data visualizations that I made. So just a quick introduction. The Austin Animal Center is a large no-kill shelter in the US. And my inspiration for taking on this project is because I've actually volunteered at an animal shelter before. And I was like super curious on what kinds of things affect which animals get adopted and which don't. So I decided to take this data set and kind of take a look at what kinds of things increase the chances of a cat, in this case, getting adopted. So the first thing that I looked into was whether or not the breed of a cat would affect the adoption rates. So the CFA is like this association that registers pedigree cats. And in the data set, there was a column of whether or not the cat was a pedigree cat breed or if it was just a regular domestic cat. So the results from this showed that there was like a slightly higher percentage of adoption for cats that were pedigree breed, which was pretty interesting to me because I kind of assumed that would happen because they're like a pure breed cat is like better or something like that. And the next one, I looked at sex. So males and females were pretty similar, but I did notice that like spayed and neutered animals had a lot higher adoption rates than not. So I made another graph that kind of shows this better. So as you can see, the adoption rates for animals that are spayed are a lot higher than for the ones that are not. Nextly, I looked at which days of the week animals are most likely to be adopted, and weekends had the most adoptions, which makes sense. And for time of day, I also did something similar and found that 5 to 6 p.m. has the highest rate of adoptions. And I guess this is because people are getting off work, so they have time to stop by the shelter and pick up an animal. I also wanted to look at the age of cat and outcome because I feel like a lot of people really like kittens just because they're cute, they're playful, and like, you know, they'll live a lot longer than an older cat. So the data from this data set does show that kittens have a higher percentage of adoption compared to adult cats. And I also wanted to look at coloring because I remember reading a while ago that black cats, like people don't want to adopt black cats because of like bad luck and they look bad in pictures and stuff like that. But based on the Austin Animal Center data set, it seems like there isn't too much bias towards one kind of color of cat, which was pretty interesting. And lastly, what I looked at is whether having a name affects the adoption rates for animals. So as an animal shelter that processes like thousands of animals, some of them don't get names. And it seems that animals are more likely to become adopted if they have a name. So that's some of the things that I found. Do you guys have any questions?
That's awesome. Like, it's actually, I think this last thing might be one of the most interesting, right? Like it's something very arbitrary, right? Like the shelter could just give the cats names, right? And maybe that would have something to do with them with more of them getting adopted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found that super cool too.
And then the other thing with the time data that shows that they get adopted most often between 5 and 6.
Mhm.
And, I mean, it makes sense, right? But then, like, you know, that's actually useful information for the shelter. For like, they know how to plan it a little bit better, right, based on the expected demand.
For sure.
Yeah, I love how detailed this is. Like, this is awesome, and like you can see in the chat, people are like, "You just did a semester-long project in 48 hours," which is really impressive.
Thank you, thank you.
Also, there's a lot of requests for you to publish this and maybe make some Enlight tutorials.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys, thank you. I actually got a lot of this information just from Googling. Like, there's also this other notebook on Kaggle, which was actually so helpful. I don't know if I can find it because they have a lot of them here, but they had a lot of ideas that I thought were interesting. And I don't think they used Python, so I kind of had to find the codes for that myself. But the things that they looked at were pretty similar to mine.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Next up, we have Malvika, followed by Praneeth.
Okay, 1 second here. You know what, I am going to kind of break the rules and present 2 things because I'm not done with this capstone yet, but I just wanted to show this off. So this is supposed to be a currency converter. I'm not done yet, but this is what it looks like so far. So yeah, nothing too crazy there. And then, so this is a graph. So here I graphed the some COVID data. So I graphed the number of positive cases here and then the number of people currently hospitalized. And this is, I believe, since the middle of April is when they started to record the number of people in the hospital. And as you can see, it's come down. So I think that's a good thing, hopefully. Maybe they're catching the cases sooner or something, but yeah. I got this from the COVID tracking project, which is a link that I saw Maxim put in the Discord, but I ended up finding it beforehand because this is my project too. But yeah, that's where I got the data from. So.
Awesome. What was the currency converter for? Is that like a different product you're working on?
Yeah, I just started it, so I'm not done yet.
Very cool. You have a question from Atul.
Constant, or did you use an API? So they're constant right now, but I'll probably use an API. I'm at the very beginning of the process. So yeah.
I also saw you had a button to like add currency. So it's like your plan in the future to be able to just like add, you know, specific countries that you want to be able to convert your denomination into.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Okay. Sounds good. I have to continue to work on that. So
yeah, looking forward to seeing it.
Awesome. Next up, we have Praneeth, followed by Milad.
Cool. I will share my screen. Okay. So I'm going to present my project 3 that was on the neural network project. So this was based off of movie reviews. The input, there were 2 inputs. The first was the Rotten Tomatoes score for a movie, and the second was the cinema score for a movie. And the output was the predicted IMDb rating for the movie. So a little bit of background on what each of those are. The Rotten Tomatoes score is what the critics say about a movie. The cinema score is what audience members say about a movie right when it comes out. And the IMDb score is like online users that can go on a website and put down what the rating would be. And the IMDb rating can have be set at some point in the future. So I wanted to see if it was possible to take the Rotten Tomatoes score and the cinema score, which is decided right when a movie is released, and see if it's possible to predict what the IMDb rating would be at some point in the future. So I first started out with some data points with some movies that came out a little over 5 years ago. Some of them include Dark Knight Rises, Monsters University, Paranormal Activity. Ran it through the code about 1,000 times. Got a pretty low loss number. And I tried it out with one other movie, I forgot which one, but we got pretty close to the actual output after running it 1,000 times. So going forward, just to expand this project, probably what I'd be interested in doing is taking some movies that would be released, well, we don't have many this year, but maybe last year, and then circle back on it in a couple years and see if I was able to predict what the IMDb score could be.
That's awesome. And yeah, you can definitely scale this project up further even soon if you take more historical data and just maybe find, probably Kaggle's the best place to go to find movie data, and just set it into a data frame, and then you can just feed the data frame columns as your inputs for the neural network.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see how this goes, especially when you add more inputs as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious with that.
Awesome. Great job. Next up, we have our last presenter, Milad.
All right. Yeah, so for my capstone, I'm coming from no code, and I kind of just wanted to get stuff on the page and different ways that data was visualized. So I kind of combined some of the other projects that I did and just kind of put them all into my personal website here. So we had the weather, still locating that apparently. And then, yeah, I kind of put some goals for myself for the next month. And then I pulled in the news articles from the New York Times as well. I didn't get to add the Kanban board, but that was one of my favorite projects by far that I really liked. And yeah, I wish I could get to incorporate it, but yeah, that'll be next steps. And then yeah, figuring out why this isn't locating. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. This is way different than no code, so it was just super exciting to get stuff on the page.
That's awesome. I'm hyped to see the Kanban board.
Yeah, I could definitely see you put that on your main page and make it your home page that you use for everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Congrats, guys. Those were some awesome presentations, and it's been really cool to see you guys start out and see how far that you guys have made it. And keep in mind that this is only the beginning. It's something that we want to keep on instilling, because from now on, you now have the tools and the confidence to keep on building your own projects. But you should also celebrate what you've accomplished. And Varun is going to show your certificate. So I'm going to hand it over to Varun.
All right. So yeah, I'm going to share my screen. And so yeah, so if I go to, Enlight.nyc, and I go to my dashboard, you'll see that I finished all my projects. I've got a duplicate here, but and at the very end, once I've submitted my demo day project, then I can view my certificate. And here you'll have your certificate, and you can put that wherever you want. And I'm just gonna run through how you could put it on LinkedIn. So if I go to my LinkedIn, go to LinkedIn, I can go to my profile, and I click Add Profile section, Licenses and Certificates. So I'm going to call it
An intro to, so whatever you've done, if you've done mainly web development projects, you do intro to web development. If you've done mainly like data science, probably intro to data science. But if you've done both, you can say intro to web development and data science. And then Varun will go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks for that. All right. Yeah. Intro to web development data science. You can just put the issuing organization as Enlight. Doesn't expire. Don't worry. And let's just put it as August. What's today? Or 2020. And then the URL, you can just take this URL and you can drop it right here. And there we go. If I save this, and I scroll all the way down, I've got myself a certificate. So yeah, so while this is still just the beginning and we're super excited to see what else you guys will build, it is nice to step back and celebrate a little bit of what you've accomplished. So, so yeah, super excited to see this.
Awesome. And I think Max put a link to the guide to adding it to your LinkedIn. So just in case you need to look back, be sure to check that out so that you can add your certificate to your profile. Now I'm going to hand it over to Max to talk a little bit about Discord and the community and what's in store going forward.
For sure. So again, I also want to say congratulations to y'all for completing the cohort. It's definitely an awesome achievement, and we're all really excited to see what you build next, and hope that continue to stay a part of the community. And what that really means is this Discord and community, like, it's not going away. Like, we're around and we're going to continue to be around, and it is open to you. And I like to share the stuff I'm working on. I know that there are other people, a lot of our mentors, they like to share the stuff that they're working on too. And yeah, this is sort of just what we're sort of trying to build here at Enlight. Going along with that, I think it's come up a couple times during the cohort. The dashboard is going to be online for you forever. It'll be personalized to your cohort 3, and you'll always have access to the webinars and all of the other resources that are available on it. The other thing that I want to mention is that, though, in the future, we are going to be, we'll be interested in recruiting more mentors, actually. We want to, for the people who are really like the Enlight experience and they really want to continue being an active part of the community, I would just look out for some more information on that in the future. But for now, we really would appreciate if you have friends who you think would really like something like this, to definitely refer them to check out Enlight. If they go to the cohort page right now, enlight.nyc/cohort, there'll be an form that they can just fill out. I think it's just a name and an email, and that just puts them on our waiting list for, so that they know what comes next. I think Samay is about to demo it, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that's mostly what I've got. I hope that this was a really good experience, and I hope that you guys see this as not just the end, but the beginning of something, the launch pad for whatever's next. And yeah, Aaron is plugging mentorship a lot, because a lot of the people who want to be mentors, it's not that they're experts, it's just that they want to learn more. And one of the best ways to learn, besides doing, as we believe, but it's also be helping other people out. So yeah.
For sure. And as Max said, if you're interested, we're going to be sending out a form right after tonight. So just keep on the lookout for that. And yeah, we're excited to have you be a mentor. Yeah, lastly, we just want to say thank you for everything. Max, Varun, myself, we've all, and all the mentors, we've all really enjoyed seeing you work on all of your projects and launch your coding journey. It's genuinely been an awesome experience to be able to see what you guys were working on and be able to create the projects that you always wanted to create. And we just want to reemphasize that this is only the start. There's so much more left to learn. There's so much more left to build. And Enlight will always be there as you go about your coding journey. Max, Varun, any other thoughts?
I think I said my piece.
Yeah, no, I'm just really, really excited to see all the amazing creations, and looking forward to see all those additions.
Awesome. Now something that we like to do is just open up the floor to anybody who wants to share their thoughts about the cohort, any thoughts, any suggestions, and mentors can take this time to talk about their experience or anything cohort related as well. So feel free to unmute yourself and yeah.
I'd like to say thank you to all the mentors and all the helpers for, and all the crew for guiding us through this process. I've dabbed with, different languages from time to time, but I haven't really gotten a grip of them because reading isn't really a good way for me to learn. Textbooks aren't my way. So having the webinars and having not just a Discord chat, but a voice channel to talk to people was really helpful throughout the process. And I think I learned much more in these 2 weeks than I have in 1 year of sort of learning it on my own. And I'd love to continue to be a part of this community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Atul. It means a lot to us.
Another thing we can do if any of the mentors out there want to share any projects they're working on right now, or maybe they can share their capstones too, whatever you guys want. I mean,
for sure.
That's totally cool too.
Yeah, Ye-chan, you wanna show off your website? I think the animation was pretty cool with the SVG.
I guess. All right. Give me a moment. All right. Okay. So can you guys see my screen?
Not yet. Oh yeah. All right.
So this is the site that I'm working on right now. Basically just a site where people can submit their own personal stories so that people all around the world can read it and then gain new perspectives from it. This is what Varun was talking about, the SVG script, where I don't know if it was too laggy to see you, but basically it just wrote my name in cursive to pop up. But yeah, basically it's almost done. Currently doing the blog site or blog cards on this site, but other than that, I mean, yeah.
It's awesome to see how much this has progressed since your cohort to the project that it is now.
Yeah. Definitely improved a lot more since.
Anyone else want to share what they're working on? Anything that they've been up to? Oh, Varun, there's actually a bunch of UMich kids here. Varun is working on something that could be interesting to you guys if Varun wants to share.
Yeah, sure. I can totally share. Yeah, I've been working on a little side project with some friends. With Zoom University coming up, we just think that it's going to be like a lot harder to find people in your classes to kind of just work on homeworks together and like have someone to watch your back in a class with lots of stuff to do. So if you check out umishstudybuddies.com. So yeah, so we've got a bunch of Wolverines signed up, and what's going to happen is September 5th, we're going to send out some matches. You will get paired with 2 other people in your class, and yeah, so you guys can just work on homeworks together. Especially in COVID times, like trying to figure out who's in your class is pretty hard over Zoom, especially with everyone with their video off. So, so yeah, hopefully this helps out. So yeah, feel free to check it out, umishstudybuddies.com. You just find your buddy and fill out a small form. Probably takes like 60 seconds, and then you're good.
Varun, could people just like fork this project and just use it for other universities?
Yeah, 100%. We're actually considering like expanding to other universities. We're still a little unsure.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Varun, how are you like matching people up? Like
So it's gonna be all algorithmic. So we still have to kind of build the algorithm, but
what?
But basically like it's gonna be some linear algebra, and we'll match people up. Basically, like if you're in similar clubs, kind of like if you have to be in the same class, of course, and there's a couple other questions in there, and based on that, hopefully it's someone you vibe with.
Sounds good.
Have more classes been added?
Yeah, actually, Adam, I'm not sure when you filled it out, but since like about a week ago, a couple days ago, we added all seminars, recitations, and discussions. So that was like another 4,000 classes. So there should be, all of your classes should be there.
How did you get like all the classes on there? Like, did you like web scrape or?
So actually UMich sends out, or like has on their website somewhere, a big CSV with all of the classes for the fall semester.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So we were able to do some like data processing, and we got all the classes in a nice list. But yeah.
That's sweet. Does anyone have any questions about like for us? Also, one thing is we might be in touch about this scheduling a short 15-minute call to hear about your cohort experience. But yeah, we hope you got a lot out of the cohort, and we're always here once again. If there's nothing else, we can just like hang out and just like chat. Or I think last cohort we played like Scriblio and a bunch of other games, so we can definitely do that as well.
But yeah, congrats.